This is the Canon HF G70 compact camcorder, Canon's entry-level camcorder in the prosumer format. It has a 1/2.3 CMOS sensor, which allows for clear, vibrant video capture even in low light conditions. It offers 1080p recording and up to 60 frames progressive. Also 4K recording in 30 frames per second. It supports frame rates of 24, 30, and 60p. It has a 20-time optical zoom lens, equivalent of 26.8 millimeters to 576 millimeters. Has optical image stabilization with power image stabilization. It helps reduce shake and improve the quality of handheld shots. It has advanced autofocus, Canon's dual pixel CMOS autofocus system for fast, accurate autofocus. It includes a built-in ND filter, which helps manage light exposure. The camcorder also features manual controls for zoom, focus, exposure, giving filmmakers precise control over their footage. The HF G70 comes with built-in stereo microphones and offers audio input via the 3.5mm microphone jack for external microphones. Audio monitoring is possible with a headphone jack. It has a 3-inch vari-angle touchscreen LCD with a wide viewing angle, ideal for flexible shooting. The viewfinder offers additional options for composing shots in bright conditions. Has HDMI output for video monitoring or playback. It records to dual SD cards, and it offers time-lapse and interval recording for creative video effects. In this video, we're going to unbox the G70. We're going to go through every aspect of the camcorder, including all of the menu settings. Then we're going to go out and show you some sample footage shot during the day, some sample footage at night, and then we'll wrap this up with an overview of the camera and the final thoughts. But before we get started, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and also comment if you would like additional information or you have a question about the camera. So let's get started with the unboxing. Alright, so let's unbox the Canon Vixia HF G70. It's actually a pretty big box that it comes in, for no bigger than the size this camcorder is supposed to be. So let's open it up though and see what is inside. On the top of the box we have all of our paperwork and instruction manuals, warranty, user guide, all that kind of stuff. Let's open this stuff first. So it's like a power cable. Get this out of here. I don't want this. That's part of the power cable. This looks like the other part. So yeah, power adapter goes in, or power cable plugs in here, plugs in the wall, and the other side is USB-C. So I'm assuming that USB-C is how this camera is powered. This looks like the lens hood. Flip open lens hood. The battery. Authentic Canon battery, and it is a 1700 milliamp hour battery. So I can guarantee I'm gonna have to buy some bigger batteries. I don't know how long that'll last, but I wouldn't think that would last too long. Make sure there's nothing else in here, and of course the camera, nicely packed in bubble wrap. And then also packed in this, this little cotton type. This is the same stuff I've seen NASCAR diecast come in. And then that's it in there, so we'll get rid of the box. And there is the Canon G70. Comes with a lens cover. I guess if this, you would use this if you're not going to use the lens hood. I have every intention of using a lens hood. I do not like using a camera that does not have a lens hood. So that just pops on there. Get all this stuff out of the way, this junk, trash out of the way. So we have the power supply and we have the battery. Now that's all that came with it, so there's no charger. So I'm assuming the battery charges while on the camera. So should just pop in there. Clips on. There's a clip underneath. So let's look at the outside of the camera here real quick. Looks like our inputs are all right here. So you have a mini HDMI. Looks like a USB-C there. A remote port for, I'm guessing, like remote zoom, things like that. You have the microphone input and a headphone output. Now, there's a USB-C here that maybe that's for streaming, because it looks like there's another one here. This has to be to charge or for DC power. And there's USB-C there as well. There's, looks like a speaker right here. It's a very nice thick hand strap. Oh, it fits in there really well. That fits, that's very comfortable to hold with. Rocker zoom. Cold shoe. I'm guessing these are the two internal microphones right here. That's nice that it has a built-in cold shoe. This has a pull-out viewfinder if you want to keep the LCD shut. You have the on, off, and media switch right here. It says optical image stabilizer. Looking on the back here, menu. This is a toggle joystick. It's nice. I know it says touchscreen, but it's nice having this. I hate messing fingers, getting the screen all messed up. Start, stop, record. Switch between focus and zoom. I believe that that controls what assigns to this ring. So if I read that right, you switch between focus and zoom for the front ring. There's also this little knob down here. And I believe, if I read right, this custom button, you press that and it switches this between iris, your exposure, gain, and shutter. So you push this, iris, push this, adjust the shutter, push this, adjust the gain. Little toggle switch for open and close on the viewfinder or the lens hood. It's nice to keep dirt and things out. And then the bottom, you have the recorder 20 screw to attach to a tripod. And that is the Canon HF G70 unboxing. All right, so this is the menu screen, or what you would see over top video on the overlay of your Canon G70 on the screen, on the LCD screen. I am going to leave it in black so it's easier to show you around. And we're going to walk through all of this. I'm going to show you all of the settings and try to explain as much as I can of what you're seeing on the screen. So on the bottom right, this is the main screen. If you was shooting video, on the bottom right, you'll see your audio meters. And you'll see how they're bouncing around. Now, you can, with an adapter, split this into like one sound on one channel, one on the other. Otherwise, straight from the camera itself, it's going to record stereo audio through the built-in microphones. So above that, you're going to see a little guy with a little microphone. What that is and we're going to get into this, I'm just explaining these. What that is I've got a audio profile set. So you can have standard, you can have for scenic or things like that, but one of them is speech. And so the speech one is actually turned on right now, and that's why you see the little icon with the little guy in it right there above the audio meters. Next, you have your settings, what you're recording at. In this case, I'm recording 4K 3840 by 2160 at 150 megabits per second at 29.97 frames per second, or 30 frames per second progressive, shooting the MP4 format. Above that, you're going to see automatic 1 hour 34 minutes. That means I have 1 hour and 34 minutes remaining on the card that's in there. And then above that on the top right is the battery indicator. And right now I currently have 112 minutes remaining on the battery, and that is the battery that came with the camera. Moving over top middle screen is you'll find the time code. And so I have this currently set to run time of day time code. So 14:08:07, that means it's 2:08 p.m. I let this run, and the reason I do this is because if I'm shooting a meeting or I go to breaking news or I do anything where I'm shooting it and I go back and I look at the video, based on the time code, I know exactly what time of day I shot this. I know exactly what the time was. So I always record everything time of day, and I let it free run instead of record run. To the top left of that is basically your shooting setting. And so if I were to touch the P, you're going to see where I'm on programmed AE. So, and then you have TV, which is shutter priority. AV is aperture priority. And then you have full manual. You also have some scenes here for different settings. So you have portrait mode. That gives you more of a blurred background if you're shooting interviews. Sports mode, that is for scenes that are fast moving and fast paced. You also have your night scene or shooting night modes. Snow, so that's pretty much anything extremely bright, it's going to bring it down. You have beach mode, sunset, low light, spotlight, and fireworks. So spotlight is you're shooting a theater play, everybody on stage is extremely bright, and if you were leaving it in normal mode, they would all be overexposed and everything else would be normal. This exposes for the brightest spots and brings those down to the acceptable level, and then it makes everything else dark. Low light, pretty much what that's going to do is to be able to gain up to where it needs to be in extremely low light. It's slowing the shutter speed, which gives you that jittery, shaky, kind of terrible looking video. I never use that. Most of the time I'm either on programmed AE, which is for the most part makes almost everything automatic, or I go full manual mode. So, and we'll explain the full manual mode here in just a little bit. To get out of that, I'm going to hit the X. Now, going down here, you see a little a square icon and the M.AF. That is for manual or autofocus. And on the left side of your LCD screen, there is a little button that lets you switch from manual focus to autofocus. And then CP3 is something we're going to talk about here in just a little bit when we get into the menus. That is your color profiles. So this camera does allow to set up multiple custom profiles, and I mean this thing has every manual setting you can imagine. So if you're a professional and you're real familiar with all this stuff, you can really dial in custom looking pictures and profiles. I have two set up, one that's mine and one that is somebody from YouTube that I saw who shared his settings. I tried them. It was a little bit too grayish and washed out. I like my blacks a little darker, and I like real good contrast in video, so I set up my own as well, and I will share those with you guys. We'll go through all that here in just a little bit. This is kind of like a longer, intuitive video right now. On the bottom left is your function button. So what the function button is we press that. This is kind of like your instant access menu, your basic menu, so to speak. So if I hit gain, and I can go to, we're in auto gain right now, but I can switch it to manual gain, and I can literally drag this with my finger across the screen. Or the front dial on this camera is actually can be programmed to adjust gain as well, which we'll get into that here in a minute. But this is touchscreen to slide across to adjust your gain. The plus or minus, this is your exposure. And on the right, you have normal or high for highlights. Basically, that means the bright spots are going to be exposed correctly, and then things in the background will be a little bit darker. Or you have normal. We'll go back here. You have zebras on and off. That's the middle one. And so you can have zebras off, zebras at 70%, zebras at 100. I always shoot interviews with zebras on at 70%. It gives me the proper exposure. If I have just a little bit of vertical lines on the face, it tells me that I'm properly exposed. But for now, we'll shut that off. And then you have your exposure slider. So we were in auto, but you can also increase or decrease exposure this way as well. Auto exposure, basically. So you shoot auto at 0, and you're like, boy, that video is kind of dark. You can set your auto exposure to like half or 3/4. So that's going to brighten it in automatic. So you can custom set your exposure in automatic mode. That's a nice thing to be able to have. Auto white balance. You have auto, daylight, tungsten, color temperature, so you can custom set the color temperature, or you have preset 1 and preset 2. In preset 1 or 2, zoom in on something white, hit the little, here, you see the box, bottom left corner of the box, and because I'm in black, it's actually not going to set it. So it's keep searching, and it gives you a color temperature profile readout over there. We're going to go out of that for now. You have your backlight compensation, always on, off. You have your focus in the box here, auto or manual in the touchscreen. And then you have magnification. So let me open up the shutter real quick and just explain this. This, and it's kind of dark right now, this, you hit that, and it automatically zooms in so that you can get a critical focus on something. If you're in, well, let's go to manual. There's manual focus. So I'm zoomed in, and and it's dark, so it's not going to show everything, but I get what I need, and then I'm critical focused. I can go back to auto, and if I hit X to click X out, it goes back to my normal zoom range. Let's close this back up for all this. Scroll up. The next one is zoom. So you can actually zoom in using the slider here. I don't know why you'd ever really want to do that, but it is there if you want it. CP3, this is your custom picture profiles. So we have CP1 is default. CP2 is this guy named Mark. It's his that I put in there. And see how much brighter the blacks were when I switched to his? But then you go to mine and see how dark the blacks are. And my custom one is SVP, and that's what I like to go with. And then the next thing in the function menu, this basic menu, is your audio. And this is where you can go from automatic audio to manual audio, and you can adjust the levels manually. Manual audio is always going to be cleaner, but you have to keep an eye on it so that you're not getting your audio too hot. So you got to keep an eye on it. But in auto, it's going to automatically gain. So if any point, let's see how high it is, and if any point I'm quiet, it's going to auto boost to try to get up to basically 0 dB. So I always like to be on manual, but also on auto or manual, you have this little icon, the guy I told you about. You click on that, and you have standard, you have music, festival, speech, meeting, forest and birds, and looks like noise suppression, and custom setting. So, you want to play around with that. The speech one, I'll tell you, even in manual with a shotgun mic, sounds pretty good. The meeting, I'm guessing, boosts so that you can hear the whole room. I haven't played with all these yet, but those are all in there. I leave mine on speech because I'm usually capturing people talking when I'm shooting stuff. And then the last thing is you're going to see this little hand with the parentheses around it and the P, and that is your power stabilize. That is the basic that's the function tool there. That's all your kind of settings, your like quick settings that you're going to use. Now this little power, that button I just showed you where it's kind of like your power optical image stabilizer, that button can be changed to anything. That could be white balance, that could be anything. It's a custom button that you can set. In this case, I have it on for power image stabilizer. Okay, so that is your on-screen display. That is your basic function. You'll see gain. Looks like I had it set on manual. I'm gonna go back to auto just for purpose of all this. Okay, now let's get into the actual menu. So on the camera, you hit the menu button. Now here are all the menus, and you use I think you can touch screen this, but you also can use the little joystick on the camera, which is what I like. So right now I can go over between all these. So from camera setup, recorder setup, recording setup, audio setup, display setup, system setup. If I go over to camera setup and I go down one, now you see where the one is highlighted, and you can just go across the pages like this. So let's go back to one, and let's just walk you through everything that's in this menu. I'm not going to explain every single one. They're kind of self-explanatory, but I'm going to do a quick walkthrough because before I bought this camera, I tried to do a research, and I couldn't find any of this stuff anywhere. Somebody breezed through a couple things, but I just want to show you what the menus are in this camera in case you decide to buy one. So page one for camera setup, we have digital zoom. You can turn that off. 400 times digital zoom, 800 times digital zoom, and digital teleconverter, which is 2 times. That you would turn on if you're using a screw-on telephoto lens. So we're going to go back. Soft zoom control. You can do start, and stop. I haven't really played with that. I don't really see a need for that. I guess you would program a start point and a stop point, and it does it automatically, almost, kind of like what you get with motorized sliders that are programmable. So it's something I need to play with. Zoom speed level, fast. So you can go, let's see. Sound of the camcorder zooming may also be recorded. Normal, slow zoom. I've got it on normal right now. I really like fast zooms, but normal seems to be fast enough. Grip zoom operation, that is your toggle, your rocker. You can turn that on or off. Variable speed zoom or fixed or constant. I always do variable. What that does is how much pressure you're putting on the rocker. You can do a slow zoom, you can do a fast zoom. You have kind of some control. Then there's high speed zoom. I turn that on. Now we're going to go to page 2. Autofocus mode. Instant autofocus, medium autofocus, normal autofocus. I have it on medium, and that's just how fast it's going to focus on something. Face detection and tracking. Turn this on, and any person who is in the shot facing the camera, it'll put a little box around them. It'll autofocus and auto track that focus for that person. It will also auto expose for the face. Focus preset speed. Fast, normal, slow. I have it on normal. Auto slow shutter is on. Actually, I'm going to turn that off because I don't want the shutter to go below 1/30th, which is normal frame rate, because I don't want a jittery shutter. Flicker reduction is off. You can turn that on if you're inside with lights that might cause a flickering effect on your camera. You can turn that on. It'll compensate. Page 3, ND filter is set to automatic. You can turn that off and then manually control them if you want. Conversion lens, and there's 2 lenses, telephoto or wide, and you would turn that on. I don't have one. Image stabilizer, I have it set to off. You want it off if you're on a tripod. If you're handheld, you can either go standard or dynamic. Dynamic seems to be a bit much. I always go, if I'm handheld, I flip it to standard, and then as I'm shooting, if I need extra stabilization, I hit the power stabilizer button on the viewfinder. Power IS button, we have that on. Press and hold. Oh, okay, so I can turn it on and off. So I hadn't seen that before. So I am going to go ahead and do that so I don't have to hold the button down. So that's something new I found. Set white balance priority. And so we'll leave it on automatic for priority. And you can also set color temperature. That's just what it's going to be at by default. We'll just say automatic for now. Focus ring operation enabled. So that is the single ring on the front of the camera. You can switch between focus or zoom. So keep in mind. Page 4, focus ring direction, normal, or you can reverse it. Focus ring response, how fast it's going to respond to you spinning it. Zoom ring detection, we'll leave that normal. And CP function is on, and so that is the custom profiles. You can turn that off. I suggest programming and leaving it on. Recording setup, resolution, that's where you can choose between 4K 150 megabits per second, 1080, 35 or 17, or you can do 720. This camera does not do standard definition. No idea why you would want standard definition in this day and age. Frame rate, I've got it 30p because I am in 4K. It only does 4K 30. It does not do 4K 60. Everything I do anymore, I'm shooting in 4K. It also does 24p. I'm not really a big fan of that. There's no reason to do that unless you're going to convert your finished project to actual physical film. There's really no reason to shoot 24p unless you're shooting a feature, and there's no reason to shoot a feature with this camera. Recording media. So there's 2 SD card slots. I have it set up to record video on card A, photos on card B, but the reality is I'm never shooting photos with this thing. Dual relay record. You can do standard recording, so it records on one card, and then you can switch to a second card. You can do dual recording, which allows you to record both cards simultaneously, or you can do relay recording, where it fills up the first card, and when that card gets full, if you're still rolling, it switches automatically to the second card. Just a word of warning, in the past with different cameras, different models and things, relay recording, if you edit on something like Avid, can cause serious problems when it comes to editing, because having clips span cards is really, in my experience, never a good thing. Slow, fast motion. So you can speed up 1200 times, or you can turn it off. I don't use that a whole lot. Available space on memory. This tells you how much time is left on each of your cards. And then we'll go to page 2. Initialize, that is how you format your SD cards. Record command, off. This is voice, I believe it's voice activated recording. I don't use that either. HDMI time code, I leave mine off. Time code mode preset, that is where you just kind of like when you're first setting it, you set your time. Or regenerate, that's where you can sync time code to another camera. Time code running mode, I do free run. I explained that earlier. We are in drop frame mode. Oops, page 3. Initial time code. So that's where you would set your time. And I don't want to mess that up. Cancel. User bit type. I'm not messing with that. Color bars, you can turn color bars on or off. SMPTE time code. SMPTE color bars. I apologize. I'm getting ahead of myself. You can turn on tone with the color bars. You can change how the numbering is done for your clips as they record. OSD recording. So it's off right now, but if I wanted to, you can record the date. You can record the time on your videos. You can record time code, date, time, and time code. This is useful if you are doing any kind of work such as depositions or legal work where you need to have this information. You need the time, you need the time code, and you need the date. So that would be something like that. Or if you're doing home videos and you just want to know when that was shot, there's nothing wrong with that either. Let's go to page 4, and this is blocked out. OSD recording position, display recording OSD, and that is because I have it turned off. Those are grayed out. Let's go up to audio, and this is all because, let's see. Most of these are blocked out because my audio is set to manual. Display setup. You have, now here's the key. This camera will not output 4K through HDMI. It will only max output in real-time live 1080p. So to an external display, to a TV, anything you're trying to do live streaming, 1080p is the max. It will record to the SD cards in 4K, but it will not live output 4K. HDMI scan, you can go between progressive or you can force it to do 1080i. Some inputs, if you're outputting HDMI, cannot take progressive. Others cannot take interface. So you have to switch between, if you plug in your HDMI and you're getting a black screen, change that setting and see if it works. Brightness display, LCD backlight, it's on max brightness at the moment. You can change those. I usually leave, I was in the sun last time, that's why it was max brightness. Viewfinder luminance, we'll say normal, that's your viewfinder in the back. LCD mirror image is off. That is if you flip over and want to shoot selfie mode with the LCDs facing you. Output on-screen displays, right now that is turned on because I'm wanting to record. I'm HDMI out to the recorder, which is a YOLO box, and I want to record the LCD screen so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. But if I were to switch that to off, notice how you guys see black. Turn it on. I'm only have it on because of this demonstration I'm doing. Otherwise, I would always have it off so that you get a clean feed out. On-screen markers, you have level marker, gray and white, and then you have grids. You have a 4x3 safe space if you're shooting for 4x3. I don't understand why you would do that. Truthfully, I'm a professional, so I don't use any of that stuff. Distance, you can change that between feet and meters. And then lastly is the system setup. We are English. You can set your time zone, set your date and time. Power LED is on. Access LED is on. That's the green light on the side of the camera. The power, and then the access is when you're recording. You can actually turn that off so you don't ever see any lights, but I'm not sure why you'd want to do that. By default, this camera comes with auto power on, auto power off turned on, which means you let your camera sit for a little while, and after a certain amount of time, it auto shuts off to save battery. If you have your camera set up because you're live streaming and not actually recording, then you're going to want to turn this off so that your camera doesn't automatically shut off. We'll go over to page 2. Remote terminal is standard, or you can do that. I will tell you that I have a little Zoom remote controller recorder that I tested that I actually bought for my Sony camera. It works for this one. And then you have your assignable buttons. So throughout the camera, on the side of the camera, there are buttons. And this is where you can decide what you want to set your buttons as. On screen, that's the power image stabilizer I have set. So there's your buttons. You have custom dial button. So that's the little button on the front of the camera. When you go in manual mode, there's a little tiny button below or behind that little little knob, rotating knob. And this is where you set what that knob does. You can turn it off. It doesn't do anything. But I have it set for iris, shutter, and gain. And what that does, I'll show you in a minute, is in manual mode, you hit that little button and you can quickly switch between what that dial does between gain, shutter, and exposure. Battery info tells me my record time left, 107 minutes. We have a backup menu, USB mode. You can set it for GPE2, which is GPS, or UVC output to live stream. One thing to keep in mind, understand if you're live streaming with this camera using UVC, it does not output the audio of the camera, which makes the function of the camera extremely limited. Because if I'm live streaming, I want to have a wireless mic hooked up to the camera, then to me, and I want all the audio going through. So, since it doesn't output audio, when I live stream, I hook up an HDMI cable to the camera, go to the computer, and I use an HDMI to USB capture card. And so I'm actually live streaming connected with HDMI, not the UVC. Again, UVC without outputting audio is worthless in my opinion. You may have a use for it, but even small little $30 webcams that plug in USB and are UVC cameras usually have a built-in microphone. So why Canon decided to have this function without audio, I just don't understand it. But it's there if you somehow see a need for it. Last page, certificate information, reset all firmware information if you need to update. And so that is pretty much the display. Now, last thing I want to show you is the dial. I told you how it programs it. So I'm going to go up here and touch this P, and I'm going to go to full manual mode and exit out. Now, notice on the top there, you'll see an f1.8, 1/30, 24 dB. That's your gain. So that is controlled by this front dial. And the button behind that dial, it's a very small button. But if I press it, notice how it's now 24 dB. And I rotate that front silver dial, and I can adjust my gain, and I can go all the way back to 0. Now this camera does not do negative dB. I have a Sony camera that does. So you can go to -6 dB for really bright days. This one does not. We're going to switch to f-stop 1.8. I can start adjusting exposure. I hit the button again, switches me to my shutter. I can go higher shutter speed. I can really open it up and get slow. So it's 1/8, 1/9, 10, 12, 15, 17, 20. So the slower you go, the lower you go past 30, you start getting a stutter effect on your images. And then of course, if I go back to automatic mode or programmable AE, all of a sudden that function goes away. So that is pretty much all of the functions of the camera. The one last thing I need to show you that I didn't completely get into. So I turned CP or color profile on, and I programmed one of my buttons to get me instant access to that. Go to function, pick your profile, and why is that not working? Pick the profile you want to edit, click your assignable button, and you'll see like this one's protected. So it's not even, I can't even edit anything because that's a profile that I wanted to have protected. I'm going to go back. Hit my programmable button. I've protected that one as well. Now this one, SVP, I have not protected. And so I can go down here and rename it. I can protect it. I can reset it to default. We can change the gamma color space. In this case, I have it as standard. Color matrix, I have it neutral. Page 2, master pedestal, I have -15. Master black red, I have it 0. Green, 0. Blue, 0. Gamma level, -11. Gamma range, I have it 0. Point, 0. Saturation, active, I put off. Low key saturation level, 0. Mine I left a lot default. But then there's knee active, automatic. These are all the different, sharpness level, detail frequency, coring level, sharpness limit, noise reduction, spatial filter, frame correlation, color matrix tuning, gain. Then you have phase, red, green, red, blue, green, red, green, blue. You have blue, red, blue, green, red gain, blue gain, color correction phase. There's just so much stuff that you can custom set all this stuff. So, but these are all the menus, and I'm not going to go through every single one of these for each profile. But what I'll do is I'll put my SVP settings in the description. along with, I'm going to put a link to this guy, Mark, his YouTube video, and he has them in his description. I'm not going to take his stuff and post it, but I did use his as one of my color profiles that I saved. But I'll link to his video in my description. You can go watch his video and get his settings in his description. So that's pretty much it. That is, I know it was a long, 30 minutes of just going through the menu, but there's a lot to this camera. This camera can do a lot. All right, so I'm doing a test right now of I'm holding the camera out in front of me. This is kind of like a vlog, selfie type video. And I've got the speech or the audio set for speech. And so the reason I'm doing this is I want to see what the actual microphone sounds like in automatic mode as I'm walking and talking, because it's a little bit awkward holding this thing, but it has a wide enough lens that if you wanted to talk and walk and talk and do something for your blog or vlog, this absolutely can do that. So hopefully it sounds good. Now I'm going to do it again. This time I'm going to do it in manual audio mode to see if it sounds better. All right, so now we're doing selfie mode, vlog, holding the camera out there. This time the audio is on manual instead of auto. I'm in a park, there's some geese, there's traffic behind me. Just going to walk here. I'm going to hopefully not disturb any of these geese, and hopefully they don't attack me. But just walking here and seeing what this sounds like. So, it's a wide enough angle. Looks like we got good good sunlight. Everything looks good. This one goose is not happy with me, but I've got around him. I think I'm okay. So you're going to see in a minute, you'll see all these geese behind me. So I just walked through all those, so I want to make sure I didn't cause a problem. But anyway, it's okay. This is standard image stabilization. I don't have it on full dynamic. So yeah, this is what it looks like. All right, guys, so one of the reasons why I love the Canon line of cameras for news gathering or ENG is because more and more there is a focus on digital content, getting things on X, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, YouTube, right away and quickly. And the great thing about the Canon series of cameras is they shoot native MP4 on SD cards. And it is very easy to get your footage instantly from your card to your phone. In this case, an iPhone with a lightning port adapter. So I'll show you a couple times, I'll show you, and then I'll screen record and show you how easy this is. But essentially all you do is you go to your photo album, and then you plug this in, SD card in. So Canon's going to show up on the bottom. You just open it up and you just select the clips that you want to import. In this case, these were 4K clips. And I just select the ones, I hit import on the top, import selected, and you'll see the little spinning and it'll be a green check mark when that clip is imported. Wait for all of them to get imported. There we go. We will keep the originals, exit out of there, and there they are right there in the camera roll. And so I can take those in the camera roll, and you could look at them individually, full 4K quality, and then from there, we're going to exit out of here in a second. There's all of our clips. They're in the camera roll. Now you can close out of your camera roll, go into Adobe Rush, which I use because I have an Adobe subscription. We're going to create a new project, go to camera roll, and we're going to import those 4 clips that I just imported off the card. We'll call it Canon Test. We're going to select our 4 clips, and we're going to create our project. So now we can scroll with our finger to widen these out. We can do a professional layout, add different overlays, add different music, graphics. If you have PNGs, you can lay over top if you want to put a watermark on your clip. But when you're all done and you have it edited the way you want, you just export. It automatically exports as the native setting, so in this case 4K. And using Adobe Rush, it really exports quickly and it keeps the file sizes relatively low. Just waiting for it to export. Now it's ready to go. Exit out. I can exit out of Rush. I can go back to my photo gallery, and there it is on the bottom right. The 4 clips edited together. I didn't do anything special as far as editing with these, but you can do a lot with these. Cut sound bites, video, things like that. So you can see it's all edited together as one clip. And that's how you get your video in to your phone immediately from your Canon. In this case, I have a Vixia or an HF G70, and I shot all this stuff in 4K. But that's just a quick overview and why I love using the Canon cameras for ENG use. Okay, so it's time for my final thoughts on the G70. So this camera is really, really good at the price point. Now, there's a lot of other videos out there when you search the G70 and they're comparing it to other cameras that have 1-inch sensors and things like that, and it's not a fair comparison. So this video is all about this camera. I do have other cameras. I bought this one because I needed a entry-level, cheap 4K camera that could shoot really good video, and I didn't want to pay a ton. This was the right camera for me. In the future, I'm going to be doing a video that has this thing fully rigged out for ENG or journalist use, documentary type shooting. A lot of accessories I've already got with this. I've already tested it and tried it, and it works really well. So you're going to want to check out that video when it comes out. But overall, I think this is an excellent camera for the price point. It does have the 1/2.3 inch sensor, so it's not a full 1-inch sensor. So understand that. There's a little bit of limitations with it. It doesn't have all the external buttons that you'd like to have on most professional cameras, but you can't really expect that with a camera at this price point. Essentially, this is essentially the XA60 that Canon also offers. Only difference is the XA60 has the handle with the XLR inputs. But if you watch the video coming up where I rigged this thing up for journalist use, for news gathering, you don't need that, because that handle adds a lot of extra money to the XA60 over the G70. You can get everything out of the XA60 with the G70. So overall, I love this camera. This camera is basically going to become my primary camera. I have a Sony NX5U 15-year-old camera, which I've always used. It's got all the external bells and whistles. It has everything. It just doesn't shoot 4K. That's why I'm kind of replacing it. I'll still use it from time to time. And then the video you're watching right now is being shot on a Canon Vixia R80, which does a great job. But, you know, it's got like a 1/6 inch sensor. So it's time to step up. It's time to start doing everything in 4K. It's time to start doing these videos in 4K. And it's going to happen with the G70. Hey, if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. Hit like on that video, and also leave a comment. I'd love to know what you think, and maybe I can answer some questions for you about the G70. I really appreciate everybody watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I know it's been a long video, but I hope you've gotten something out of it. We'll see you next time. Take care.